Hello, everybody, and welcome into Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We are here on the Big 12 channel and the Texas channel over at SG1 Sports. Thank you for being here, guys. Can you please hit that like button? Please hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel, guys. It really does. We're trying to grow this brand, trying to grow this channel. Please do that for Mark. Please do that for SG1, and please do that for myself. I am your host of this Texas Tuesdays number 16, Matthew Miller. Texas loses the first game of the year to Oklahoma. I predicted Texas 31-26. Thought it would be a good game. It was a fantastic game. This game is always a good game. It lived up to the hype. It lived up to the expectations. And Texas falls a little bit short. And we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly in this game for the Texas Longhorns. Um, we usually start out with the good. Let's start out with the bad. So Texas, in my opinion, guys, from rewatching this game, watching it live, and rewatching it, the bad guys, the defense. Good aspects of the defense. I thought Tavondre Sweat played well. I thought Derek Williams, the freshman at safety, played well. I thought Anthony Hill had his best game. I think he only had 40-something snaps in this game and was phenomenal. He had 7 tackles, guys, so he was really good in this game overall. There was Anthony Hill had 8 tackles. So flying around the football on 47 snaps and getting 8 tackles for Anthony Hill. Is there sometimes this kid is lost? 100%. But other times he's making spectacular plays, and he makes up for it with elite athleticism when he is lost. So great job by Anthony Hill. Gunnar Helm, great game. Great game. 44 receptions, 67 yards, a touchdown. So great game for him. I don't have any complaints. I thought if he did step up, he wouldn't even be that good, but he was good in this game. Even if you take away the wide open touchdown, he made plays. The 4th down conversion with Savion Red, great job by him. But defense overall, not great. It just wasn't great, guys. And we got to work on some things. The missed tackles in this game, there were some missed tackles in the Alabama game as well. Tackling an open field and open space leads to yak, and that leads to points for other teams. So we need to control that and keep up with that and get better at that. And then not enough consistent pressure. Dillon Gabriel was only sacked once in this game. We only had 5 tackles for loss. We have to disrupt with the front we have. Byron Murphy did not have a great game. He kind of got manhandled. Tavondre Sweat did have a good game, but the front needs to be better. The edges need to be better. The rush lanes need to be better. And I talked about in the Alabama game, guys, I said if the rush lanes weren't better later in the year versus a team that could run the ball with their quarterback, we would struggle. And we struggled. They weren't good in Alabama, but Jalen Milroe was thinking way too much in that game. He was. We made him think too much, and we saw what happened. If you have a guy like Dillon Gabriel who has seen it all, been through it all, this was really the last test for him is like a crazy environment like this, a very unique environment, then he's going to exploit those. And he was able to exploit those. The guy's a gamer. The guy is going to live in lore now in Oklahoma because of this game. So we have to keep those rush lanes more effective. We have to be able to keep them intact, and we just were not able to do that. And then we were too soft on the last drive, guys. Way too soft on defense on the last drive. You cannot play off coverage 7, 8, 10 yards at sometimes during this drive, which only lasted 5 or 6 plays, but it was pathetic. You were basically saying we're fine with getting 8 to 10 yards, giving up 8 to 10 yards, and you shouldn't be, especially on the first play. The first play of that type of drive is the most important. If you get a sack in that situation, if you tackle someone for a 3 or 4 yard gain, you can run 15, 20, 25 seconds off the clock. I think you could have run 20 seconds off the clock based on one play. That gets you down to 59 seconds. You still got to go about 40 yards to kick a field goal, 65 to get a touchdown. That was a big play, and PK let me down there. He called a terrible play. They were trying to set it up to create a turnover, and it didn't work. In my opinion, that shouldn't be time for experimentation. It shouldn't. It should have been press coverage, single high safety, and you should have got after Dillon Gabriel and the wide receivers and forced them to beat you. You always force someone to beat you. You don't allow them to have 7 to 10 yards in a situation like that, because guess what? 7 to 10 yards every time is enough to get you in field goal range. So you're basically playing for overtime at that point. And then if they hit you with the 20-plus yarder like they did with Drake Stoops, then they can score a touchdown like they did with Nick Anderson. So just not a good drive, not a good game overall by the defense. They're definitely, like I said, standout performances that we did touch on a little bit, and I'll touch on them more. Another guy that I will point out on defense is Gavin Holmes. Gavin Holmes is a weakness in our secondary. I think that's why you saw a lot of Malik Muhammad in the second half, because Gavin Holmes just ain't it. I'm sorry, you're not. You struggled in this game. You have struggled in certain other aspects throughout the season. You have to be better if you're Gavin Holmes. You have to be better. And if not, then you need to keep him off the field. Because Malik Muhammad, Terrence Brooks, And when Ryan Watts gets back, is good enough rotation for me. Weed out the weak guys, and Gavin Holmes was weak. He was weak. He wasn't good enough. The safeties overall weren't good enough. I don't want to see Keaton Crawford back there again at safety. I just don't. I don't think he's a good enough player. I think he's a great special teams player. I think he's one of the best special teams players in the country, and that's where his role should be. Because honestly, at the next level, that's where he's going to be. He will never play down in the NFL as a safety. He just won't. If he is, your defense is not very good. Michael Tapp, I do like. I don't think we saw enough of him. Honestly, I thought we should have saw more of him. Jaron Thompson is good in aspects, bad in others, but you can play with them. And then Jalen Catalon obviously got hurt, and I think he would have helped a lot in the run game. That guy's a missile coming downhill, and he's too aggressive. That was his not coming back. He's too aggressive, doesn't care about his body, and throws it in no matter what. And he got hurt on a play where he didn't need to get hurt, guys. He threw himself into a position to where the play was over, and that's how he got hurt. But to me, when he's healthy, it's Catalon, it's Thompson, it's Derek Williams, and it's Taft. Those are the four guys. Keaton Crawford should never see the field for this Texas Longhorns defense again, in my opinion. Another guy that we've touched on in the past, extremely talented, getting mocked in first rounds, which he's got the talent, but he doesn't play with the effort. That's A.D. Mitchell. That's a bad throw by Quinn Ewers in the first quarter. It is. It's not a good throw, first drive of the game. But you can't allow the corner to cut you off like that. At least fight for the ball. If you fight for the ball, if you get your hands on his hands or on the ball, that's an incomplete pass. That is huge there. He just gave up on it. Listen, I don't care if that ball was never supposed to come to you in the first place, and it shouldn't have. It should have gone to Xavier Worthy, or there was a screen on the other side. Jonathan Brooks, I forget who was blocking. I believe it was Jatavian Sanders, and I forget the other guy blocking the other side. It would have been Jordan Whittington, and that's a good blocking combo. He could have flicked it out there. So all around bad decision by Quinn. But A.D. Mitchell, as a wide receiver, you have to help your quarterback when he makes bad decisions, and you're in the area. Sorry about that, guys. And you're in the area, so that's a bad effort by him. He's not good at blocking. We saw that again. In certain aspects of this game. So, yeah, that's another bad thing. And then we'll talk about Steve Sarkisian. I love Sark, and I thought at times in this game he was freaking brilliant. I thought the faked punt was brilliant. I thought going for it as many times as he did, especially with Savion Red, was brilliant. There are other times when he went for it, and that's what we'll talk about, where I didn't like. That sequence, he owned up to it, by the way. Props to him for doing that. Not many coaches would have done that. They would have dug their heels in like a Mario Cristobal, who had a boneheaded decision and said it was the right decision. He did not say that. He said, I would have run the first two plays, and then on the third down, I wish that was the fourth down call was the third down call. And I agree with that. That's what I said. I actually like the fourth down call. I don't like it on fourth down because you're not leaving yourself open for options. To me, I'm a guy where you need to explore all options on a play and give yourself as many options to score, unless it's a guaranteed score. And that's not a guaranteed score. We've seen that play be blown up in the NFL. We've seen it be blown up in college. So to me, I didn't mind the call, but I didn't like it on fourth down. On third down, great call. I also thought if you're going to run that play with T'Vondre Sweat and Byron Murphy, and I know we've thrown to Byron Murphy and to T'Vondre Sweat, if you had that planned for this game, like weeks in advance, which I don't know if he did, or if you had that play in your playbook, you need to show early on that you're willing to throw to those guys, which you have shown, and then you're able to hand off to those guys, because that adds a whole new element. Your goal as a play caller on both sides of the ball, and especially on the offensive side of the ball, is to get the defense on their heels and thinking. To me, Oklahoma didn't have to think. They knew I'm coming downhill because they're just using these guys as blockers, and they were able to blow it up. Whereas if they have in the back of their mind, oh, you have to count for one or both of them, they may get the ball, so we have to concentrate on that first. And then if they don't get the ball, then Brooks, where it's like, okay, he doesn't have it, then he has it. That split second can cause that to be the stop to a touchdown. So that needs to be shown at some point. Same thing with the screen. If you're going to consistently run screens as your first play of the game, he has run a screen or a run every play or every time the first play of the game. You have to be able to fake a screen and go deep, or hit a play action and try to convert that way as well on first down. So if I'm Steve Sarkisian, you have to work some wrinkles into this, become less obvious with these things. And I think he will do that. I do trust him because he does learn from his mistakes. Now, everyone was talking about when we got the ball back and we didn't go for it and we kicked the field goal and then Oklahoma went down and scored. We got the ball back with 4 minutes and 49 seconds left. In my opinion, as a play caller, at that point, you have to determine, am I going for the touchdown? Am I going for the field goal? Now, you can still call the same plays, but at the tempo you do it at is very important. So if you're going to call the plays such as he did, then you have to go get a touchdown, because we never took a snap when the clock was running where we got it under 10 seconds. If you're going to kick that field goal in that situation, you need to have that in your head and say, every snap, Quinn, I want this to be taken at 10 seconds or less. We never did that with the clock running. Never. It happened one time, and that was on a dead clock. You cannot do that. If you're going to run the offense at the tempo you did, you have to be aggressive and honestly probably go for it there or throw it on 3rd and 9 because that left way too much time. You know what this offense wants to do for Oklahoma. They want to go insanely, blazingly fast with Jeff Lebby. They don't run super complicated stuff when they go fast, but it gets you off balance as a defense, and that's what happens. So to me, he had to make up his mind, and he didn't make up his mind. He kind of played in between, and that's why we lost. That's part of the reason why we lost. Also, you played in between, and then when you got the ball back, you were so soft on defense. So those are the things, guys, that I'm just very, very not concerned about, but sad about, because that game was there for the win, even though we didn't play great. I thought we played a C minus D plus game, and I thought Oklahoma played a B game. So their B game definitely beats our C minus D plus game. I think our C minus D plus game can beat the rest of the Big 12 for the most part if they play their B game. It can't beat Oklahoma. It can't. And if they played their A game, they probably would have beat us by even more. Also, you got to trust Quinn. The guy had 19 completions at one time. The one he broke it on this drive should have been a pass interference. He went deep to Worthy. Worthy didn't fight, I guess, hard enough for the ball to come back and get the ball, but it was pass interference. The guy was face guarding, had his hands on him, never looked back for the ball. It's classic interference. It would have been called in the NFL because the NFL does do a better job than college officials, in my opinion. Maybe it didn't. There's some bad officials in the NFL, but there's way worse officials in college. But that was pass interference. It should have been called because to me, that's the same type of call as Terrence Brooks. At least Terrence Brooks, to me, got his head around, was driving the guy out of bounds. And the only issue I had with Terrence Brooks, you can do that the first 2 to 3 yards. After that, you got to let go and then turn your head. And if he does that, honestly, ride him out of bounds, turn your head and run after 2 to 3 yards, you can probably intercept that ball. There was good though, guys, and we're going to talk about that. Special teams. Special teams was amazing. Jeff Banks is going to be a head coach because of games like this. Period. The guy is a wizard at special teams. He's a great special teams coach. You see what he's done with Ja'Tavion Sanders in the year. Ja'Tavion Sanders could not see the field last year. Barely saw the field. You see what he's doing now. He's going to be a first-round pick in the NFL draft. Jeff Banks, you are a wizard at special teams coach. You are a wizard at tight ends coach, and I'm excited to see your career when you do become a head coach because you will be a head coach. Special teams, fake punt on second drive of the game. Ballsy call from Sark. Great job by Jeff Banks and them seeing what they saw on film and seeing that they could exploit something. They came out of the huddle, saw it, and they didn't blink. And that was very key on that play to call that play right away, because if you don't, Oklahoma would have recognized Jordan Whittington usually isn't in that position. Let's shift. And they didn't have time. They got up 2 seconds, bang, ran it, got 15, 20 yards. I couldn't tell how many yards because the TV was breaking up. I think everyone else had that issue as well. But it's a great play by Sark, and then also a great design and seeing that on film by Jeff Banks and the ballsiness to call it by Sark. Next, the pump block. Great job. You set up one way. Late in the play clock, you come in a different way, attack. They shoot the gap up the middle. Keaton Crawford blocks it. Everyone was coming on that, other than I believe it was Worthy back there to return it. Malik Muhammad picks it up right away, scores a touchdown. Great job there. And then there was a potential wrinkle on the first kickoff. I noticed this because someone tweeted out on Twitter. Don't remember the guy, but props to you. You saw this before anyone else. Savion Red, who really doesn't return kicks for us, it's either Worthy or Keelan Robinson, was back there. Savion Red was back there. And Savion Red was back there because he can throw, as he showed on the 4th down conversion. And Savion Red caught that ball, ran about 10, 12 yards, and realized, okay, am I going to do this? He turned, and he was going to throw to Worthy, who had one guy to beat, Billy Bowman. If he beats Billy Bowman, it's a touchdown. If he doesn't, we probably get the ball around the 35-yard line, maybe 40, but it would have been a good gain and gotten us in good position. And let's say the sequencing happened exactly that. Let's say we got that. We get to about the 40, and then Quinn Ewers does throw that interception. That's around midfield, so it makes them drive even further, guys, show more plays. It's a big play no matter what, even if that interception still happens. And if it doesn't, then we're probably getting a field goal or maybe a touchdown on the drive. Most likely a field goal because, again, the red zone things rear their ugly head. So that was a good thing. Another guy, Jonathan Brooks. Jonathan Brooks, I said this, and I'm going to keep saying this. I told people Jonathan Brooks was going to put up better stats and have a better career at Texas because of the scheme, because he's a very good running back, and because of the offensive line. He is going to do that. He is going to be better statistical-wise than Bijan Robinson. He is not a better player. Bijan Robinson is all-world type. Bijan Robinson is a top 10 draft pick in the NFL draft when running backs are not needed type. Jonathan Brooks is not that. Jonathan Brooks will probably be a second-round pick. Jonathan Brooks is very good in everything else. He's a good running back. He's not an all-time running back like I think Bijan can be. He was that in Texas. I think he'll be that in the NFL. Next up, I mentioned these guys a little bit earlier. Derek Williams, Anthony Hill, Gunnar Helm. Great game. Great game. 3 of our 5 or 6 best players in the whole game. Anthony Hill in his 47 snaps had 8 tackles, flew around the ball, made up for his mistakes with the speed and athleticism. When that guy completely figures it out, because he will, he's going to be a first-round NFL draft pick. It's insane to me that someone can see 47 snaps, have 8 tackles, not really know what they're doing. That is insane to me. That is rare athleticism at the linebacker position. I think the comps are fair with Micah Parsons and him. I think that is very fair. So I think he's got a chance to be otherworldly special, guys. Another guy, Derek Williams. When he was on the field, I felt more comfortable than when any of the other safeties were on the field. He's going to be a really good player. And I think you're going to have to play him more. And I think after the bye week, you're going to see both these guys play a lot more, especially with Jaylan Ford struggling in that game as he did. Gunnar Helm. If we're going to run 12 personnel, I want him and Jatavian Sanders out there. I know he likes Malik Agbo, the offensive guard, out there to sit out there for 12 personnel for the blocking. But honestly, it adds more to your game plan. You can throw out of that more. You can't really throw that with Malik Agbo. And if you're going to show that with Malik Agbo out there with Jatavian Sanders, then you need to throw to Malik Agbo once or twice to keep the defense honest and on their toes. Again, as an offensive coordinator, you want the defense on their heels, not on their toes. And in this game, Oklahoma was on their toes constantly for the most part. There was certain aspects where I did like what Sark did, but overall, not his greatest game. Not his worst game, though. I'm not going to say he lost the game because I don't think he did. Quinn Ewers, after the 2 picks, 19 straight completions. Guy was balling. He broke the Red River rivalry. Second half, he was amazing. He showed his NFL draft stock there. Got off to a slow start, and as this team has gotten off to a slow start, again, we can get off to slow starts versus Wyoming's, Rice, hell, Baylor's, Kansas. We can't do it versus a top 10 team, top 7 team, in my opinion, in Oklahoma. That's what I think they're going to end up being at the end of the year. So you cannot do that versus these elite teams. Honestly, he could probably do that the rest of this year, other than probably Kansas State. And then if we do get to the Big 12 championship game, that game. But he has to be better, just not for us guys, but for his NFL draft stock. He has to be better in the first half. So we touched on the good, we touched on the bad, and we're going to touch on what I believe we need to work through, guys, on the bye week. Let's do that right now, guys. So the bye week. Red zone. Guys, we were 1 of 3 in the red zone in this game, and that's what cost us the game. Oklahoma was 6 of 6. And this has reared its ugly head. I believe we're in the hundreds in red zone efficiency. Sark is moving us very well in the 20s and then stalling in the red zone. I'm going to list multiple reasons or multiple ways that I think we can get better in the red zone. 1, I think we need to line 3-by-1 formations a lot and use Jatavian Sanders and Adonai Mitchell in the 1 and throw fades and jump balls. I think that will help. I know they're not high completion, but those guys are better than 50-50 at that position at catching the ball in those certain situations, so I would do that. Other solutions to this, I would run that Xavier Worthy play. That was the first time we saw it. Run that more. I think that will work, especially if Jordan Whittington out there blocking. I would say Jonathan Brooks in a heavy set, tossing the ball to him would also work. Those are some keys to me. You just have to do better in the red zone, guys. I'm not saying you have to be great. I'm not saying you have to be a top 10 offense in the red zone, but I do believe you have to be better, and I believe like 103rd in the red zone. If we can get into the 80s, I think this team can compete and win a national championship. If they don't do that, then we'll probably win the Big 12 and get absolutely blasted in the playoff, or may not even win the Big 12. So we have to be able to get better in the red zone. Sark, this next thing, first down play calling. We have to get better. We have to be more inconsistent there. We're way too consistent throwing screens or running the ball on first down. We need to see more play action. We need to see more deep shots there. We need to see anything, honestly. Just throw the ball past the line of scrimmage. And then if you are going to run, do something different the way you run. It's always inside zone, honestly, on first down. So just be better on the first down play calls. Get you more yardage there. If you can get 4 to 5 yards there, then that makes every other down easier to convert. So please do that from Steve Sarkisian. Throw more, in my opinion, on first down would be the main thing. And then defensive communication. We've seen multiple times this back end get beat deep. In this game, it didn't rear its ugly head until the end. It didn't get beat deep, but it got beat in a key situation where there was no communication. There was a point. There was a point by Jaron Thompson. That is not enough. You need to be able to point, yell at David Benda, and say, you got him. And then again, you need to say that at least twice. You need to say at least twice because it can cost you the game like it did. Honestly, guys, if we cover that well, Dillon Gabriel is either sacked to end that game or that is an interception. And because of communication, lack of communication, or bad communication, it did not happen. We need to get better on the back end and communication on defense. And then keeping quarterbacks in the pocket. That was the first time it really got exposed. But Jalen Milroe, as he gets older, if we were to replay that game a year from now, that man would have rushed for 150 yards. Our rushing lanes were poor, but he was thinking way too much. And by the time he pulled down the bar, athletes were able to get there. Dillon Gabriel was not thinking. Dillon Gabriel was reacting. He realized, oh, they're doing this. The rush lanes are bad. I'm taking off. That's why he was able to run for 113 yards. This guy's not a great athlete. He's an average athlete playing the quarterback position, but he's very smart. He's he's a gamer. He's a lot like Max Duggan. And if it's there, he's going to take it. So that has to be better. There's only a couple teams left on our schedule that can exploit the running game with the quarterback. K-State, TCU, I think, can do it. Tech can't really do it, I don't think. I don't think Iowa State can do it. I don't think BYU can do it with Slovis. Thank God it's not Taysom because he could definitely do it, just like he did in the past. And then Houston, Donovan Smith could probably do it a little bit, but not much. So it's really not going to kill you until play Kansas State and TCU back-to-back. And those rush lanes have to be very good going into that game. That's really it, guys. Like, there's not a lot. If we can turn the switch on a couple of these things, I believe this team ends up in the Big 12 championship. I think our goals are right where they need to be. I like the answer from Steve Sarkisian at the end of the game to where someone asked him, do you want to see them again? And he said, if we take it week by week, we'll need to be exactly where we need to be. And I 100% agree with that because the first year he did say that, guys. When he was here his first year and we ended up going 5-7, we had lost to them after blowing that big lead. And he said, we'll see them again. And we ended up losing 5 or 6 games in a row. So 6 games in a row. We cannot do that again, guys. We cannot do that. So stay concentrated. You're good. Hell, even if we lose another game in the Big 12, I think we'll end up in the Big 12 championship. But how about we don't? How about we don't? Because we are the best team in this conference, if not we're either the best or second best, period. Talent-wise, execution-wise, everything. We're the second best. Right now, we could be the first. Just stick to the play to your capabilities, and you'll end up at where you need to be, and then take care of business. Because I think if we play our A game and OU plays our A game, we're better. We just have to match their game. What I mean by that is they play a B game, we at least have to play a B game. They play a C game, we have to play at least a C game. We have to match them. We didn't do that. We didn't. They played a B game, we played a D- or a D+, C- game. In a grade level here and there versus other teams, we can get it done. We can't do it versus a top 10 opponent. We can't. If we want to win a national championship, we cannot play like that versus Michigan. We cannot play like that versus Georgia. We cannot play like that versus OU. We cannot play like that versus Alabama because we played much better in that game than we did in this game. So on and so forth. That may work for 15 through 133 teams, but 14 and up, I don't think it's going to work. And those are the teams that you're going to be competing for a national championship with if you play to your capability. So that's really all I got for you guys. I appreciate you guys being here. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. And before I leave, guys, if you're going to go and to a game, go to ticketsmarter.com. Use code BIG for $10 off a purchase of $100 or more. And then use code BIG20 for $20 off a purchase of at least $300 or more. Guys, I really appreciate you being here. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. I will be back Saturday. Or no, I will not be back Saturday. You will see me next Tuesday again previewing Houston. And then next Saturday, you'll see me for the Houston game. Guys, it's been awesome. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. We're growing this channel. I'll be back after the Houston game, guys. And as always, no matter what, it's Texas Tuesdays here live with Matthew Miller. I will be here live every Tuesday throughout the season, probably in the offseason as well. So please hit that like button. Please subscribe below. Thank you guys for being here, and hook 'em as always. It's 803, guys. And OU still sucks, even though we lost. They're a good team, but they still suck.